everyone. Welcome back to Real Talk with REsimpli, where we get real about real estate, business, and everything in between. I'm your host, Chenay Jordan.
And I'm Don Carlson. Today we have one of the biggest, baddest killers in the game, my guy. You may not have heard of him because he hates posting to social media, except for hiring another team member. The mind behind one of the highest volume investment companies in the country, individually owned, cranking out hundreds of wholesale deals and flips every year. The CEO of Bumblebee Properties, Mr. Billy Fernandes.
Thanks, Don.
Yeah, Billy's journey is quite a masterclass in bold moves and smart execution. He and his wife walked away from their W-2s on the same freaking day, launched Bumblebee Properties in 2020 in the middle of a pandemic, and built it into a 16-person operation doing 350 wholesale deals a year, 60 flips, and stacking a rental portfolio on top of it with more than 125 doors. He's all about systems, scalability, and creating real freedom for his team and his community. Let's go with Billy.
Yeah. And I just want to start off hard and fast, Billy. How much money did your business make in October in assignment fees alone?
In October, actually, October was not a great.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, let me say that again. It was September, right?
Yeah, October though was actually a low month, but it was around like 250,000.
When was the $1 million one?
November. So we assigned over $1 million in deals in October, and in November, this month, we're in November right now, we have I think we will land right at like, I'm a little upset about it, but like 980,000 in assignments closing this month. I'm trying to find something I could close this month for 20 grand so I could get that 7 figures.
Okay, I was hoping for we did $100 million in $1 million in assignment fees, but that's still amazing. Like wanted to begin. Can we do that again, please? Just say that we assigned. You fucked it up, Billy.
All right.
It's okay. I'm gonna say it again. But you did assign, like, I know not all of it's closing, but you did assign that much in fees,
so
right?
October was $1 million in assignments to end buyers, earnest money in, title clear, and that $1 million in assignments that we did in October is closing in November and a couple of them in December. December is also going to be like a $500,000, $600,000 month. So between November and December, which are most people's slow months, we have probably like 1.6 closing in those 2 months.
Dude, chump change.
Absolutely. I mean,
do better, Billy. Do better.
I mean, the fact that you're nitpicking over that, I love it, and that's the honesty that's coming out too. But I mean, that's still amazing. Wanted to begin like with the end in mind to share like with everybody what's possible like with wholesale real estate, and even a small fraction to that income could change people's lives, like you just said.
For sure, and to even like not to like toot my own horn on it either, but like that's just the assignment fees. We actually have about 450,000 in flip profit closing in November, December as well. So,
dude, fire.
Yeah.
Amazing. So starting with the end, and let's go back to the beginning. Billy, you've talked about growing up in a small town from where you wanted to make $60,000 and you would have like felt like you made it. What was life like back then? How did that early version of you shape into who you are now?
For sure. I was, so I grew up in a small town called Hemet, California. We were often referred to.
It's right down the road from me.
Really? Oh, awesome.
We were often referred to. I was wondering where the 909 came from.
Yeah. So I'm from Hemet originally. Where are you from?
No kidding. I'm originally from Tucson, Arizona, but I've been in Yucaipa since 2006.
Awesome. Yeah. So I went to Hemet High School. Both my parents were teachers there. And, you know, my parents being teachers are go to school, get good grades, go to college, get good grades, get a good job. You know, couldn't thank them enough for that path, of course. And going into college, I just remember thinking like, gosh, if I could make 60 grand a year, like that'd be so freaking cool. And, you know, fast forward. Yeah. I met my wife, who I could honestly attribute all of my success to her. Without her, I probably would not be even making 60 grand a year. She's the one that like lights a fire under me. She believes in me to do big things. She does big things herself. She is also like very, very involved in her company. I'd almost call her the CEO and me the COO.
Same.
She's the visionary. I'm the implementer, or the integrator. but so she encouraged me. Like I met her in college. Then we got our masters together, and then out of college, I started working for a medical device company called Right Medical Technology. Made great friends there. Was there for 10 years, but after about like 7 years, like hated the corporate life. I probably climbed the corporate ladder too high to where it was the constant BS that you have to deal with of, just blowing people's egos so that you could get a promotion. And I absolutely hate that because Don, you know me, like I'm not going to give you a filter. I'm going to tell you how I feel about you. And in corporate,
Let it rip.
I had probably the biggest HR file at our company. But I was also like the most successful in my position of like 5 of us that were in that role, so they wouldn't let me go. But I was in the HR office or a Zoom meeting with them probably once a quarter for like every year, and it was just over the dumbest shit. But
where'd you go to college?
So I started at MSJC, did my junior college there, and then I went to Cal State San Bernardino for my undergrad. And then my wife went to Cal State San Marcos. I met her at a house party at her house with some of my high school friends who are now like her best friends. They were like literally her maid of honor and everything. So like small world. We all like, she hangs out with a bunch of Hemet people, and she's from like Encinitas. I give
That's
up
wild
because we're just a bunch of hemorrhoids out there.
I didn't want to diss. I did not want to diss on him, but
that's what we call ourselves, hemorrhoids. So met her in college, and then we were dating probably I think from our sophomore, junior year. She was 20, I was 21. Then we both went and did our master's program at Point Loma University down in San Diego. And then we got married in 2015. And then 1 week after we were married, we moved to Texas. And we've been here ever since. And we were here for about another 5 years before we both quit our W-2 jobs on the same exact day at the same exact time. Just went in our offices, and I'd like to say flipped our bosses the bird, but like actually really respected my boss, or Stacy Glenick. She was really cool. I still talk to her. And she totally got it. She's like, good for you. Get out of this hellhole. So made the jump, got out of there. And the rest is history. Since we started in 2020, the very first year we did it, we made $250,000 in about a 8-month stretch of kind of from when we started to the end of that year. Is we were only going for 8 months. We made about $250,000. And that was more than we made combined in a year at our W-2 jobs. So we were like, why are we still at our W-2 jobs? Then the next year, 2021, we did 500. 2022, we did $1 million. 2020, sorry, I think I skipped a year in there. 2021, anyways, we doubled it every single year from 250, 500 million, 2 million. And this year we're ending over the 4 million mark just in assignment fees. It's not our flips or our net worth growing from properties we've bought as well.
That's amazing. I'm curious to know, like, so you guys quit your W-2s on the same day. What was like the conversation like in the house when you guys made that decision and like burned the boats and took the leap?
It was very like, I was like, hey, you should quit your job first. I made a little bit more money. But it was like, well, I was the one running all the sales stuff, going on the appointments. I was the lead manager of the AM and the dispo and the TC. She was the marketing and the finance, and she still had her job. I had mine. I traveled a bunch. I was probably gone 1 week a month. And then we had enough of a savings. We were good at saving money. We lived beneath our means. I want to say we probably had like $150,000 in our bank account. So like we were doing pretty decent. And we're like, hey, look, if all else fails, we have like a year and a half of living expenses in our bank account. So F it. Let's just both quit. I think the day before is when I told her, I was like, you're quitting with me. Because she got stressed out about something, like hated something about her job. And I was like, you're quitting too. And we quit at the same time tomorrow on Monday. And so we both called our bosses. And I think we got back from a vacation too, which is like, we're on that vacation. We kind of like took the time to think about it a lot. So we're on a 2-week vacation, came back and then quit. So
that's amazing.
The conversation was just like, let's do it. Like, you're not going to make it happen if you don't jump all in.
Oh, absolutely. So those first few months that you guys, after you guys quit and started like, doing this, when was the moment that like you really realized like, oh shit, this is working, like we're gonna be okay, like we don't even have to worry about the savings that we have, like we're making it?
Yeah, we made sure it worked before we quit. So like we had some hard set rules that we had, and that was one, we wanted to have a year worth of emergency funds set aside for whatever, right? For this is not working, for a month plopping, whatever it might have been. We just want to have a year set aside. So like that was like our first plan. And then the second step to that was I wanted to have 3 consistent months of doing 4 deals a month and feel like I had the process figured out and that it was grooving and that it wasn't just like luck. And then I did 3 months of like 5 deals a month and I was like, okay, it's time. Like we've got this down. Which now, if you ask me, like, do you have it down now, Billy? I'd be like, I don't know what I'm doing. You know? But like back then, I was like, we got this figured out. And now, some days, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. But no, so we had that consistency in the business. We had a good savings, and so then we decided to make that jump.
That's great. Bumblebee's obviously scaled a ton. Like you said, you've doubled every single year, and to the point where now you're doing 350 wholesale deals a year, 60 flips, yada yada yada, all the things. What systems or mindset shifts were like the biggest turning points in getting from, you know, okay, this is working and this is proven, to like the high volume machine that you're doing now?
So a lot of people, there's actually a really good book that I just read that I got lucky and did it right the first time. It's called The Science of Scaling by Dr. Ben Hardy. Amazing book. I think he also wrote The Gap in the Game. If people are looking for book recommendations, like those 2 books are great books. But he talks about like in order to scale to that, like any level that's beyond just like a couple man show, you need to have like a very simple process. And like our process is simple. We could bring in a new LM, AM, DM, TC, and have them trained up and like on the phones and running in 3 days. Because our process is simple. People think we have this big, convoluted, confusing process of how we do things, and it's really not confusing or hard. It's a simple process that I'm very strict on following. I don't get mad often until someone breaks my process, and I get pissed, and people know it. So like they dot their I's and cross their T's when we're doing work and following through the processes. And they understand why, though. They understand why those things are so important in order to have that success, because just someone messing up something on the front side does nothing but it's a domino effect all the way down the line. And the team knows that. So I have a great team. We are a office full of A players. There's not a single person in my office that I'm like, they're okay. Like everyone in there's a rock star. And I'm super grateful for them. So rock stars and simple processes is a recipe for success.
I talk to so many people that have such complicated processes, and you know, it's like kind of like an objection to that. You know, sometimes I'll get with with REsimpli is, you know, oh, my business is so unique and it's so complex and this and that, and I always think to myself like, you're successful, sure, but you could probably be a lot more successful if you just simplify things, which it sounds like that's your motto, is just, you know, keep it simple and, you know, don't overcomplicate it.
Yeah, you can't scale a confusing process. No.
Amen. That's a great piece of advice for sure.
Just curious, with a whole, like with a much bigger business than you had when you first started, do you feel any additional pressure to like perform every month and make sure like, dude, I need like 10 deals to keep the lights on or something? Is that like a fear of yours, or is that something that you've just overcome with, like, you have the consistency already in place?
No, absolutely. And that's a great question. I would say like the stress is almost about the same. It's just on a different scale, right? You know, when I was just running solo, it was like, hey, I need 1 deal a month to close for 20K in order for us to break even. Now, like if we don't break 200,000 a month, we're losing a little bit of money. And I know a lot of people get on here, these gurus out there, and this is why I hate posting on social media. And like they'll never tell the real truth of like what they're actually doing. But like, there's been 2 or 3 months this year we lost money, but there's months this year we make 750,000 net, right? And a lot of people don't talk about that. Like there is bad months that happen, and that stress does happen. But yeah, for us, like 200K is 200K. Like Tara and I are taking home money, but it's not where we want to be necessarily. We're about flat at 200K, and that covers about $100,000 in marketing. That covers, our office rent is, I think, like, I don't know, 7,500, 8,500 a month. That's our REsimpli bill is like 1,500 a month because we have 140 phone numbers in there, and just the amount of minutes we go through. That's our Wi-Fi. When you get to this level, cybersecurity is a real thing. We have Sophos set up for our cybersecurity. Before we got Sophos set up, I was getting hack attempts daily. For wire fraud, for people trying to get into our Google. I fell for one and I caught it and I changed my password. And right after I changed my password, less than 30 seconds later, it was failed login, failed login, failed login.
No.
I almost got taken for ransom, and it was so good and so clean. It was a DocuSign for me to sign for the city of Terrell on a proposal for widening a driveway, which was a request from one of our flip properties. And I just thought it was from them. So someone had like essentially been able to spy on my email and sent me a DocuSign for that. When I did the DocuSign, it was like log in, and it was like log in through your Google account. And I'm like, I've never done that, but like I was in a hurry. I'm like, okay. So I put in my Gmail username and password, and then it would go to like a blank screen. So I went back, did it again. I'm like, this is really weird. And so I called the city of Terrell and call him Don Carlson. I'm like, hey, Don, I got a DocuSign from you for why? He's like, it's a scam. It's not me. I didn't send you nothing. Went in, changed my password. 30 seconds later, it was failed login, like 8 of them. And if they would have taken over and I'm the admin in our Google suite, they would have taken over that. They would have held us for ransom for God knows how much, $250,000, $1 million. I don't know. But so cybersecurity is a bill that we now have that costs us $1,500 a month, so the bills add up, is my whole point behind that. And 200K is a break even number for us in a month.
I mean, I've talked to a bunch of like successful investors, very similar, like a guy out of St. Louis who does crazy amount of deals, as not as big as you actually, which is amazing. Do you know Cam Cathcart by any chance, Billy?
The name rings a bell, but I don't know if
you guys would get along so well. So anyway, I definitely got to introduce you guys. But we were at dinner the other day. He lives in Maui, and we were talking about that same thing. Is like, dude, I have to like wholesale 10 or like 5 to 10 a month just to keep lights, and they have smaller assignment fees, like 5 to 10K. So it's like when somebody wants a big business, it's like, well, do you know what's involved in having that big business? I think we talked about that last week with David Olds too. Just like begin with the end in mind. Like, what kind of lifestyle do you want to have versus like, do you need $4 million a year to achieve your dreams?
Yeah, it's a lot of people, and we coach some people right now, and I actually don't know how long I want to continue coaching like one-on-one. I enjoy doing it, but like when you think of like your end in mind, and I want to get to a company that's doing 40 million a year, and people paying me essentially like my rate's like $700 an hour for coaching, isn't worth 40 million a year. And what I would charge for coaching, I'm not going to get people to sign up. And it's like, you got to raise your floor for what you're willing to do in order to get to those big numbers. And that's the things like you have to get rid of, is like, if I want to become a $40 million company, I can't be having an hour-long phone call with someone. Now, I love the people I coach, and I've helped some great people, and I'm going to continue to probably do it for a little bit longer. But like, that's just part of it, is like, your time value of money becomes very different as you grow, and you have to recognize, like, what do you want to do? Like, what do I want to do? And I do the coaching because I like helping people, but I like helping people that have a know-how around real estate already. I could not run a mastermind of a bunch of people asking me how to do their first deal. I'd go insane. But I like helping people fix their processes and their follow-up systems, and how they're evaluating deals, how they can maximize, where's a broken process in their system. And usually, believe it or not, I'm simplifying people's processes. I'm like, you have way too much shit going on. You're like, you're making this too hard on yourself, and it needs to be A, B, C, D, and E, and that's it. That's all you got to do to be successful. So I enjoy doing that with people. But part of scaling is eventually going to probably have to let go of that.
Yeah. What is your vision, Billy? Like, what is your why? Like, I mean, I know you said you want to build to like a $40 million company, but like, what's your why?
For sure. You know, I used to have like a lot of hobbies. Like I'd bow hunt. I have a massive gun collection. I like cars. And now like I just like my hobbies become like work. Like I love working and building the business. And if I'm not building, like I feel guilty. Like I'm like, if I'm not growing it, I'm failing it. So like my hobbies almost become like growing the business bigger and bigger. But my why behind it, the why behind it to me is more like leaving a legacy to my family. Tara and I have some big goals of we want to get a ranch back in California, like probably Central Coast. I know, Don, you got an 805 area code.
Yes, sir. Come on over. Little Santa Barbara action, dude. Get a little vineyard.
Like Arroyo Grande area, maybe. So we'll see. But we'd love to have like some big piece of land out there. I'm on land out here in Texas too, but want to get back to California with great weather. Give my son the life that he could just be super excited about. And I never want to be able to say no to anything. Not to the kid. Like I don't want to spoil a kid by any means, but like I want to do what I want, where I want, with who I want, when I want, every single time, right? Like if it's like, hey, I want to get on a jet and go over to Italy for 2 weeks with a buddy, I can. If I want to go take a flight with my family and we go up to Whitefish, Montana, I can. Like I don't ever want to have those constraints. And I do like nice things. I'd be lying if I said I didn't like nice things. I got a 68 Bronco.
Cherry
truck. My wife has a nice car. I was looking at a Porsche GT3 RS the other day. So I like.
You really like cars.
I do. Like I enjoy just driving them. I have a buddy who's trying to convince me to get into getting a GT3 RS and then tracking it. I'm like, that sounds risky, but maybe we'll see. So.
My stepdad's a car guy, but he's like into like really, really old cars. So like he's got like a 29 Model A, and then he's got a 31 or 32. I don't even know what it is. I call it the Bonnie and Clyde car because it looks like an old. It looks like an old gangster car.
That's
and then
cool.
he has a race car, like a drag race car as well. But I'm not a car person. Are you a car guy, Don?
I want a 69 Camaro. Like that's my dream car. I'm not a huge car guy. I mean, I could appreciate a nice freaking dude. I love your Bronco. I like the older cars. It would be fun to restore one. That would be cool. Like get my hands dirty with it. My father-in-law is a mechanic, so that'd be something fun to do. And with him, and also like my son, he's 4 or 5 months old, so that'd be cool to learn from grandpa and have him get into it too.
That is cool.
Billy, I wanted with your vision, like what you just said, I know we did an exercise at that. We were in a mastermind together, and I think we first met at a beach house in Pensacola. Wow. We did something called the dream. It is like the dream life exercise. Basically, like for the listeners, like going over your dream life and then putting a dollar amount with each specific thing. I thought that exercise was super powerful for my wife and I. I wanted to do a little check-in on you, man. Old accountability buddies. Your dream life.
Bring that up.
Sorry, what was that?
I was just saying, it's hilarious that you bring that up because like we still reflect back on like that exact time of doing that dream life exercise. And my wife does that with our coaching clients and with our own employees on like, what does your dream life look like and how do you get there? But yeah, from that time. So ask the question you were going to ask. So I'm sorry.
Yeah. Shout out to Ryan Dossie for that. Cause that was an amazing big, and that's, I think that's why we moved to Maui. Cause that was a big goal of ours. And did our business suffer? Like, absolutely. Like we were no longer in the same time zone or business, even remote same time zone. But it helped us like clarify like what we wanted out of life. But my question to you, Billy, is based on what you wrote down before, how much of that has come true and has that changed?
Yeah. A lot of it has. And I'd also say that it's also changed in bigger ways, which you hear a lot of people say, like, once you reach a goal, you just keep setting a new one, a new one, a new one. You just need to be happy with where you are, which kind of comes from the book, The Gap in the Gain. Because like you can make $1 million. If you make $1 million, you're just going to want to make 10 million. You make 10 million, you want to make 100 million. You make 100 million, you want to make $1 billion, right? Like, it just keeps going. You got to like know when to stop somewhere. And that's why, like, I think I really do believe I have like my new dream life, like what I want out of life. And I know that dollar amount that's to it now. But if we're reflecting back to when we were in Pensacola, mine had an exotic car on there. Instead of going for an exotic first, I went to a classic. It's a 68 Bronco. That's a complete resto mod, has a Coyote 5.0 in it. Thing is flawless. It's a $250,000 car. Love driving it. I love driving it next to Ferraris because like people look at the Bronco and not the Ferrari because it's so clean. So like that came true for us on there. The amount of real estate we've bought, the passive income we have coming off of that is not quite there, but that's part of our goal where we're still going. On Tara's was that she wanted to do show jumping again. She used to show jump horses when she was young. And she wanted to get back into that. She's actually down in Katy, Texas right now at a horse show doing that. While I'm here.
I'm an equestrian as well. I did it for 30 years.
Really?
So
Nice.
I started out doing pony hunter, and then I went into stock horses and did both English and Western. But
Fun.
yeah.
Yeah. So she's down in Katy, Texas at a show for 2 weeks. She comes back this Sunday. I'm actually going to go down there tomorrow morning and watch her show and ride and whatnot and see my kiddo. But yeah, that dream for her came true. And a lot of people don't know about like jumping horses, but this isn't like something you go get out of like a backyard. Like her horse.
No. Her horse is probably what, 7,500K?
Yeah, it was I think like 125, and it was shipped in from Germany. So
yep.
Yeah, flown over on jet.
It's an import.
Yeah.
So.
Oh man, that's amazing. Well, dude, I'm just like on a personal note, man. I'm so proud of you with all that you guys both have accomplished, like as a family unit. So, dude, freaking keep killing it. But now let's get down to the nitty gritty, though. Want to start out with like an obvious question in the room that everyone's probably asking: how in the heck am I supposed to go from not even consistently closing one wholesale deal a month to however many you're closing in a month to a year? Like, what does that scaling process look like for the newer wholesaler?
For sure. And I would say that every 4 deals you add a month, your processes slightly change. Like doing 4 deals a month is like kind of one set of processes. Once you go to 8, it changes a little bit. Once you go to from 8 to like 15 doesn't really change much, but going from like 15 to 30 deals a month starts like your processes really change, and they change for the better. They get more simple. But going back to doing 4 deals a month, my processes would look like they look today. They wouldn't look any different now, but it's just like, as I was growing, you have to be willing to adapt all the time. So like that's number 1 of learning to grow. Number 2 of like consistently doing deals every month. People's biggest hang up all the time is just their failure to consistently market, and market with enough money too. Wholesale gets marketed as this thing that's free to do and you're going to make money. You could go get free deals. You can. We have referrals come through and we make good money off of them, but like it wouldn't even keep the lights on if we just relied on those or just prospecting deals. We spend a lot on marketing every single month. So I would say like someone starting out, like if they just want to be consistent doing like 2 deals a month, you probably need to be spending 10 grand a month on marketing and have processes within there to do that. And if you're spending 10K a month and you're the AM, you probably need at bare minimum a TC company to help out, just to run those transactions for you, make sure they make it to the closing table. And then you need a LM, more than likely, a lead manager for yourself to just manage those leads and make all those phone calls every single day, and talk to sellers when they come in right away. But those processes, like I've said it several times now, but they got to stay simple. They shouldn't be too complicated. Follow up with your leads, make good contact, have good conversations, learn how to sell, learn how to buy houses too, but learn how to sell yourself, learn how to sell the clothes to them. And overall, like it's not hard. It's just a lot to learn out of the gate starting out. But getting consistent is just consistent marketing as well.
For sure. And I hear a lot of people like, hey, I want to wholesale so then I can build up enough capital to flip or or buy rentals or something. And I think instead of jumping from like A to D, like A to B is like make enough, build a war chest so you can like market consistently. Like, so like even just starting there is like the first goal, and then moving on to another bridge, if you will, or exit strategy. Cause like you're going to mess up in flipping like you messed up in wholesaling. Like it's a little, I would say a completely different beast too. Like it's like you found the deal, but now you got to deal with contractors in the city and
Yeah, absolutely. And I would also say that for someone who's like starting out and like wants to get into it, like I I don't know that I'd always like recommend wholesaling to someone. Like if you don't know how to close a seller on their property,
Right.
you're just setting marketing dollars on fire. Go flip houses. And flipping houses honestly is sometimes easier than wholesaling, right? And you have risk in both. You have risk spending marketing dollars, you have risk buying a flip house and not knowing what you're doing. But there's a lot of people that are especially there's a lot of flippers like even in DFW they love their ego stroked, and if you follow them around or they're like be like, hey, can I follow you around for a month to your rentals, just every day, just tell me where you're going to be, I'll show up with coffee for you and I'll be there, I won't even ask you questions, I just want to sit back and watch what you're doing, right? There's people that probably be open to that. I don't go in my flips enough, so no one jump in my DMs and start asking me to ride around the flips.
It's gonna ride around the Bronco with you, man. No, they would meet you. So
yeah, I have a full-time project manager, so like he's always at our flips. You know, we have anywhere from 3 to 10 going on at a time. But like a lot of people, like you can go flip 4 houses a year, and the national average for a profit on a flip is 40,000. So that's $160,000. That's essentially like a good salary nowadays. Or you can wholesale, and to make 160,000 in wholesale, you're going to have to do probably 400,000 in wholesale deals. Divide that by an average of 20K per deal. That's 20 deals now. 20 deals, call that roughly 2 a month. That's at least 10 grand a month you got to spend to make that same dollar amount. And it probably will take you more work to do that alone. But the reason we started wholesaling, or actually we didn't even start wholesaling, we started because we wanted to find better deals to flip. And then I got a deal and I was like, I don't want this shit box. What do I do with it? And then someone was like, wholesale it. I'm like, what the hell's that? They're like, you just sell the contract to someone. I'm like, okay. And like, so that's when I just sold the contract to someone made my first 13 grand doing it. I'm like, that was sweet. But hindsight, if I would have flipped that house and held on to it for 1 year, because it was like 2020 to 2021, I would have made like 70 grand. And it wouldn't have been that much work either. So it depends what route people want to go. You go wholesaling, you go flipping, and you could still make money doing both. The reason we flip is because we maximize some deals. I don't get into hard flips anymore. Most of my flips are less than a $50,000 renovation, and that's kind of just cosmetic stuff. Nowadays, that's paint, carpet, countertops, bathroom stuff. Like it's nothing wild to hit 50 grand now. So that's a lot
for sure
doing hard stuff anymore.
Yeah, and with wholesale, there is a lot less risk as far as like now you don't lock up bad deals because then you put the seller at risk, and there's like the whole ethical thing behind it. But like for someone who wants to get into real estate, I think wholesaling is a great way to like earn your stripes essentially, because you have to find deals, you talk to sellers, you learn a lot through that process, and before like buying an MLS deal or like buying from another wholesaler and realizing, dude, I bought this way too high, because I mean, like you say all the time, you make money on the buy. And if no investors want your wholesale deal, you probably locked it up too high.
So, I mean, it happens to us too. I'm not going to stand there and say we're perfect and we sell every single deal we get. There's plenty of deals that we get under contract, and we're like, I scratch my head and look at the AM. I'm like, show me how you mathed this math. Like, this makes sense. It happens, but you know, it's we're all trying to reduce that number to reduce the amount of negative effect we have on sellers, because I hate having to terminate a contract. But it happens. So.
No, for sure. And I mean, Billy, like people live and perish by systems. So to get want to get the overall sales process, we'll get to that, but I want to break it down because there's so many little things that you guys are doing right, and it's probably through trial and error, I would imagine. But you have a unique scoring system for leads to qualify them. So like how should I qualify my leads?
Yeah, so we use the system to qualify our leads. That way it takes the opinion out of the lead manager if someone's qualified or not for an appointment. So there's 5 categories we have on there. And someone has to score a 6 or above. And so those 5 categories, and I'll try to go through a little bit quicker than I did yesterday on the mastermind with you guys. But the 5 categories are: 1 is motivation. And that's a 0, 1, 2, and 3. That's the only group in there that has a 3. And a 0 is basically, I'm not interested in selling. And are you guys getting an echo?
Yeah, this guy.
Okay. So a 0 is I'm not interested in selling. A 1 is I'm curious of what is going on with your letter that you sent me. A 2 is I want to sell, but they don't have to sell. And a 3 is I need to sell this house, right? Like, hey, we're getting divorced. We need to sell it. I just inherited this house. I can't make the tax payments. That's a need to sell. And I want to sell is, hey, we just had another baby. We've kind of outgrown this house. We could hold out for a few more years, but it'd be nice to sell it. They want to sell it, but they don't have to yet, right? So a need to sell is at 3. A want to sell is a 2. A curious about why you sent me a letter, but I'm interested in hearing more is a 1. And then a take me off the list is a 0. And then we go down to the condition of the property, and that's a 0, 1, and 2. 0 is probably built in 2022 or later, and it needs nothing done to it. But we've bought 2023 built homes and made great money on them. So like those can still be deals. A 1 is like light cosmetic updates, might need a few things here or there. It needs cosmetic updates, it needs to bring it back to life. And a 2, if it scores a 2 on there, it needs everything, right? Like it's your typical wholesale home of, it might need plumbing work, it needs a roof, it needs HVAC, foundation might be a little screwy, it needs work. Then we go down to their timeline. And in the timeline, it is a 0 if they are greater than 90 days out, a 1 if they're between 30 and 90, and a 2 if they're like, hey, I'm looking to sign a contract within the next 30 days, then they're a 2. And then we go down to price, and we don't use Zillow by any means. I like to always preface that for people shopping a property, but we use it as a quick gut check for our lead managers, because our lead managers are not going to go into the MLS and comp every single property just to know if it should be passed off or not. A quick check is, oh, this Zestimate on this home is $100,000. And if they're asking Zestimate or above, they're a 0. If they're asking 80%, so 80,000 to 100,000, it's a 1. And if they're asking below 80,000, 80% of Zestimate or below, it's a 2. And then the last one is it vacant or occupied, and that's a 0 or 1. And the theory behind that is if it's occupied, whether it's by a tenant or the seller, that gets a 0 for being occupied. And the thought there is either the tenant's paying rent, so it doesn't cost the landlord a bunch of money, but maybe they're tired of being a landlord, but like it's okay because they're making money. Or the owner themselves lives there and it's a roof over their head, so they're okay making that payment. But vacant property is, I don't have a tenant paying me money, it's costing me taxes, I don't live there, it's costing me taxes, insurance, a payment, whatever. A vacant property gives it a 1, and vacant properties are a lot easier to wholesale as well.
100%.
So that bumps it up there as well. Now, the only caveat to all of that is if someone is a 3 on the motivation, we book an appointment. If they need to sell that house, I almost don't care what the rest of it is. We'll go through it, but I'm almost always, if someone's a 3 on motivation, they're almost always going to score above they're not going to be a 0 on everything else. But that is a caveat we have that we tell our lead managers. If they're a 3 on motivation, just know right then you're going to book an appointment, but keep working through the I don't want to use the word script because we're not very scripty, but keep working through our process there of qualifying to figure out how they officially score. And we score those leads. And then within REsimpli, we have tags 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And they get tagged with their score. Anything a 6 or above gets an appointment. 5 or below stays in the LM nurture. And it makes it really easy for them to go in and spot who are my higher qualified leads that I could almost push to an appointment. Like on a certain day, they go find their 5s, and they'll try to turn a 5 into a 6, or a 4 over to a 6, or bring a 3 to a 5, and then follow up and get that to a 6. So you know who your high quality leads are, versus like you're calling all your 1s and 4s and 5s and 6s, and you don't know who you're calling. You're able to start with the cream of the crop versus your lowest quality leads. You know who to go after first.
I really like that process though, because it does take a lot of the guesswork and like opinion out of it. And Billy, I know you are a big in-person appointment guy. Just curious, how much does your top acquisition guy make a year?
My top acquisition rep, who's also my sales manager, he fills in on both. He's been filling this year because we've had a little bit of turnover. If we're just looking at his acquisition income, he will probably make about 400.
Okay, cool. So in-person works. How do you train your guys to run appointments?
Yeah. So our onboarding sequence of what it looks like is the first week they ride along with Jake, going to all of those appointments. They're just watching Jake. And in a week, he's a little lower on the appointment side because he's managing as well, but he'll run 4, 5 appointments in a week, like roughly 1 a day. Try to stack them like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and like 1 or 2 a day though. So he's already out and about. So they'll just watch him. And then the next week they will kind of take over, and he will watch them, coach them, step in if he has to on conversations. And they ride together in the same vehicle. That way immediately they can digest how that entire appointment went, what went well, what didn't, talk about it, whatever. And then the third week they're on their own, and Jake has the entire calendar up, knows exactly when people are on an appointment, and basically has his phone ready for them to call when they step out to make a call to him. So that's how we train someone, get them onboarded. As far as going into like actual sales tactics and stuff, that'd be a whole nother 90-minute podcast and then some to go over all of that. But the best advice I could give to people is you should be asking questions, not telling the seller stuff. Learn to ask questions so that they answer themselves and talk themselves down. And that is the best bet. And Jake just asks questions. He's just always asking questions. Oh, so 120,000 with all of these repairs? Like, did you budget for the repairs on that too? And lets them answer that question. He's the king of questions. He's too good at it with me too sometimes. So ask really, really good questions and ask a lot of them. And then remember the term. Have you ever heard of the acronym WAIT?
I don't think I have.
So my old boss taught it to me because I talk a lot. It stands for why am I talking? So in conversation, tell yourself wait, and just remember wait. Like, why am I talking, right? And the seller, you should really have them talking 85% of the time. Like, they need to be divulging everything to you. And if you're filling up all the airspace, you're not going to get the info you need, and you're not going to let them talk themselves down on their own. So really, it's like an 85-15% rule, where the 15% is just asking questions and listening, and that's it. One of my coaching clients, like, he sent me some calls to review for him as the AM making an offer, and I was just going off. Are we allowed to cuss on here?
Yeah.
Cool. I told him, I was like, your biggest problem is you don't shut the up. Like, that's it. You just don't shut up. Like, stop talking after you make an offer. Like, he'd make an offer. Hey, hey, Janet, my offer's $135,000. And that's because of the roof. The roof is a little messed up, and I got to replace the roof and the kitchen. And it's like, dude, just shut up. Just make the offer and wait for them to talk about the offer with you and ask you a question about it, of which you then turn and ask them a question right in return with it. But people's biggest issue is talking on appointments, and don't be an awkward silence person, but ask the right questions so that they're filling the talk time and not you.
No,
that's like what you Sorry, Don, I was going to say that's like kind of like what you were saying yesterday about like just shutting up after you give the offer too. Like you don't need to sit there and start justifying like why that's your price, yada, yada, yada. Like just let them digest it and come back at you with something, be it like that doesn't work for me or where do I sign or whatever it may be.
Yeah. And Jake's the king of that. And when I was on appointments, like I think I mentioned yesterday, I haven't been on an appointment in a couple of years with the seller, but like when I was on appointments, like I was really good about like making it awkward silence to where like I wouldn't even say anything. And then they'd be like, you know, say I gave an offer like, hey Don, you know, for your property, just, you know, based on condition repairs I've got to do in order for me to make a profit on it, which I know you assume that's probably fair for me to make money, or why would I be doing this? Our offer's coming in right at 242,400, and just being quiet and sitting there. And then they'd be like, well, yeah, I was really hoping to be at, you know, 300,000, you know, but like if I could probably get 280, that'd be really good. You sit there and look at them. Or if you can maybe get to 260, like that'd be, and they just start taking themselves down.
Just vomiting, word vomiting.
It's crazy that if you can just be quiet. Actually, right before this call, like an old lead in the system was call forwarded to my cell phone still. And I remember this property I walked probably 4 years ago. It's a commercial property. And the gentleman called, I don't remember his name, but I was talking to him, and I was like, I remember your property. I know exactly what it is. It's a couple acres with a warehouse on it. You know, I'm probably around like 120,000 for it. And I just got quiet and I just kind of let him go. He's like, oh, well, I really need to be at like 650. And I tried getting price out of him a few times before that. He wouldn't divulge anything. He's like, I don't know real estate. I don't know nothing. But then they always have a number. They always have a number. They'll tell you they have no idea. They have a number. They just don't want to tell you. He goes, well, I was yep. 650. I'm like, 650. You kind of say it like with that question. You see, yeah, well, I mean, you know, even if I got up into the 400s, like that'd be ideal. Dude dropped himself $250,000 in 10 seconds on the phone.
Just shut up.
I just passed it off. Okay, I'd love to buy.
Why am I talking?
Yeah. That's amazing. And Billy, you can answer this super quick. I know in the early days you joined another mastermind that convinced you to switch to another CRM. Now, to quote Marvel Infinity Wars, what did it cost?
What did it cost? If I remember, not the mastermind, but the actual Podio build out.
Oh no!
Yeah. You what did it cost you in your business?
Oh, what it cost me in my business? Well, just the Podio build out alone was like around like $5,000, and then it probably cost me $150,000 in lost deals because the system was such a show. And I talk about simple processes. It was such a convoluted system with an attached dialer to it, with another attached text messaging system. And you see like the side system come in, you'd have to figure out what lead it went to. It was such a mess. Part of a simple process is a simple CRM. But that one mistake that I only let last for like probably 120 days total, before I came back to Sherrod begging to let me into REsimpli, and
baby, come back.
Facebook groups going forward too.
Oh man,
it was probably
Billy felt like he was being put in timeout.
Yeah,
seriously. Yeah. But no, well, we welcomed you back with open arms. That's what I would like Sherrod to have said, which I'm sure that he did. And you can answer this question really quick too. Like, what's the biggest mistake investors make in regards to leads?
In regards to leads, biggest mistake probably is not following up often enough. That's probably the number one thing I see in my coaching clients as well, is just auditing their system. And I'm like, hey, so look at this. And I keep everyone on a task system. Like, you follow up based on your task. So if you have a lead in there and you send them a text message today, right now, you send a text message, you should be setting that task, your next task, for 3 hours from now to see if they freaking responded. They will set a task for a week from now to follow up again. No, follow up on the message you sent above, and then 3 hours later, and then the next day, and the next day. And like, that's how your LMs end up with 250, 300 tasks or not, probably about 200 tasks a day that they're knocking out, because it's like, follow up on the message I sent, follow up on the message until they respond. Because if you're just like, phone call, text message, they don't answer, and you do nothing to get hold of them again for another month, what good did that do you? So the speed in between your follow-ups is so critical, and people mess that up all the time. I catch my own team doing it. I'm like, hey, you called this lead yesterday. They didn't answer. You booked a follow-up task for 3 weeks from now. Why would we not call them the next day, and then the next day, and then the next day, until they answer the damn phone? So your follow-up sequence in between your leads and your follow-up cadence is probably the biggest mistake most people make.
No, for sure, man. Well, no,
Yeah.
that's absolute fire. Switching gears from business to family, you recently had a son. Well, congratulations to you and Tara for sure. What has your experience been balancing a new child and a business?
It's a big question. It's been a learning curve for sure. He still doesn't sleep through the night. He'll be 10 months old here in a week. Yeah, the 18th will be 10 months old. Does not sleep through the night.
Took my son and my daughter both forever.
Yeah.
I'm a little farther down the parenting journey than y'all are. I have a 12 and 6-year-old, but I do remember both of them probably didn't start sleeping through the night until well after a year old. So
Yeah.
I feel that.
Oh, this kid will wake up not just wake up to be nursed and go back to sleep. Wake up ready to party at 3 a.m.
My kids weren't like that.
Oh, yeah.
That's rough.
Like father, like son.
So we start him off in our we start him off in his crib. But it's so hard to get him. So my wife ends up just bringing him in bed, whatever, which I love. But it'll be 3 a.m. and I just got a finger fish hooking me. And I look up, he's just sitting up staring at me. And I'm like, bro, go to sleep. And he's just like, dad. I'm like, good God.
Oh my God.
My wife the other night was he was so wired. I woke up and I let him crawl around the house for an hour to wear himself out so he'd go back to sleep, because he would not go to sleep. He was just trying to play with me in bed. It was 3 a.m, just ready to party. So aside from that and losing sleep, I think the biggest balance is a lot of my goals change as well, as of not just go make a ton of money, but make money so that I can hire more people to spend time with my family. There's this is the first week I've been away from him. I mentioned my wife is down at a horse show in Katy, and I drove down there last weekend, stayed a few nights with them, came back for 3 or 4 days. I'm going back again, even though they come back on Sunday. I miss my kid. I don't want to be away from him. So just missing anything sucks. So that's why I do what I do, so that I can create the lifestyle I have to basically be with my kid as much as I want. But then I use escape if he's being a little.
I gotta walk a house.
Just
Billy,
wait.
you haven't walked a house in 4 years. We have people for that. Nope, no,
Yeah,
the guys really need it. Guys.
Yeah.
Oh, guys. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Billy, what's a real estate? What's something in real estate that's a hill that you're willing to die on that might get you in trouble, in a mastermind, something that is a hill you're willing to die on, but other people may not see it that same way?
I don't know what you mean. Can you rephrase that question?
Yeah. So the saying about having a hill that you're going to die on, right? So what's something about real estate that's a hill you're willing to die on?
Maybe a controversial thought that gurus preach all the time, and you're like, nah, that's horse crap.
Yeah, exactly.
Give me a moment of silence to think of one. I don't know.
Wait.
Yeah.
Wait.
I mean, you said something pretty controversial, considering wholesaling it might not be the best thing for new people, but something like that. Anything strong opinion, Billy-esque?
Strong opinion on wholesaling that I would die on that.
It doesn't necessarily have
or
to
just
be
real estate
wholesaling.
in general.
Just real estate in general.
No, I'll think of something here.
I feel like you're somebody who would have a lot of strong opinions.
Oh, he does.
I'm just trying to.
Yeah,
but
I'm trying to make sure I don't get canceled completely. So, just kidding. The hill I die on is that and this isn't just real estate, but this is definitely one of them. Is that I can tell out of 100 people, 90 people exactly how to make $2 million next year, and 90 of them would not do it. I could give them the blueprint and get on a weekly call with them and coach them through it. They still wouldn't do it. And and it's wild to see. It's like people aren't willing to put in the work, whether that's in flipping a house and wholesaling in your rentals or whatever it is. Like, you tell them exactly how to do something and they don't believe you. It's probably like the most mind-boggling thing sometimes, or like they don't believe you that it works. And I'm like, okay, like you just walked in my house and told me it was really badass, but okay, like it works. Like, and I know that's more generic than just real estate, but most people in real estate aren't.
I think that's great.
They're not willing.
Yeah, no, I think that's totally true. I mean, same goes for like, going how to get fit, right? I mean, that's
move more, eat less, go.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But like having to go to the gym. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, just that discipline. Have discipline. That's it. And a lot of people fail at that. I would also say, like, another controversial thing, I guess, is like people don't know shit about comping properties. And I would say that's probably one of the hardest things to do is comp properties. It's not a science.
It's an art.
Yeah, it's very, very hard, and art is subjective. You might think a piece of art's worth $1 million. I might think that piece of art's worth $400,000. So I might think it should be set on fire. So, but yeah, I got a funny story about setting on fire. I was walking back when I was walking homes. I was with one of my better buyers, Brad. Good dude. And we're in this house, and he didn't know the seller was there. We walk in, this thing's just a roach house. But the seller was proud of like the cabinets that he built out of 2x4s. And Brad walks in, he's like, you know what this house needs? And the seller's right there. And he's just looking around, he's like, fucking gas and a match. And the seller's like, I just like kind of like, oh, yeah, let's go take a look over the water heater. And I walk out, I'm like, you know, that's the seller, right? He's like, oh shit, really? I'm like, dude, he has no filter either. And I'm just like, oh, good God. Like, that poor seller, it was just like, we told him we're going to burn his house down. Oh, it was wild. Good days.
Did you get the deal?
I think we ended up wholesaling that one, and we ended up wholesaling it. Yeah, it wasn't something I was willing to touch because it was like it needed a match. So,
I'm going to use that quote. That's going on. That's going to be a regular for me. Man.
You're going to ask me how you came up with the name.
No, I'm not going to ask you how you
everyone
came up
asks
with the name.
me that. Like, we just pick something.
We're different, Billy. Well, we ask better questions.
We ask better questions. Yeah, this is a way better question than how you came up with the name. Who in your company? Okay, think of like Bumblebee Properties like a beehive, obviously, right? So like, who would be like the queen bee? Who would be the worker bee? Who would have each of the traditional bee roles?
So I actually had to tell Tara to stop doing this because I found out our employees kind of found it derogatory. So she called herself the queen bee. She was calling me the beekeeper. And she would tell them,
there you go.
She would tell them that they're all the worker bees. And I'm like, hey, like it doesn't sit well with them.
I know that's not what you mean, but because I know Tara, like that's not what you mean. But
so that lasted like 2 months, and I was like, hey, we gotta cut that out. Like she'd be like, yeah, you guys, I'm the queen bee, he's the beekeeper, you're the worker bees, and you're making honey. And I'm like, oh God, don't do that again. Don't do it again.
I mean, the fact that you had an answer for that question so ready is pretty,
and that it was an
amazing.
Actual problem in the business.
Yeah,
I know.
It's probably like an HR issue.
You know what? You're in trouble when Billy's the HR. Head of HRs. Usually,
like, and I tell everyone, and Tara hates this. I'm like, Tara's HR, and she's HR because she does like sets up all their W-2s and their payroll stuff. Like all gets input by her, and I'm like, that's why you're HR. Like that's an HR thing. And do you know how much trouble we'd be in if I was HR? Like, it wouldn't be good. So
there were rules in employee handbooks based on you, Billy. I'm sure.
100%. Like there was new SOPs put out because of me in my corporate days.
Guys, if you are in HR all the time, the writing's on the wall. You may just be an entrepreneur. So.
Right.
It's like that you may be a redneck. Oh man. Well, Billy, man, what an absolute clinic. Straight clarity, zero fluff. And you got super detailed on your answers too. So that'll be super great to cut up and digest. This is definitely going to be a one to re-listen. Definitely suggest. Just appreciate you peeling the curtain back, man, and going over your journey too.
For sure, man. Absolutely. I appreciate you guys having me. Don, it was great catching up with you. I haven't seen you in a couple of years.
Dude, Mexico, I think for Noah's party was the last time.
Noah's birthday.
We'll always have Mexico.
Always have Mexico. Billy, for anybody that's listening to this that maybe wants to like check out your company, or I know you're not really exactly on socials, but where can people find you at?
Yeah, if I do post anything, it's typically on Instagram, and it's Billy_Ferns, Ferns. I will post on there. Like I maybe post like once or twice a week. And it's usually like some funny story about like that crazy seller, or just advice of like some bullshit thing I saw another wholesaler doing. I'll make this shout out. We're not going to end this podcast yet. If you're a wholesaler who a seller is telling you that they won't sell unless they get 200 grand for their property, so you go float their property out there for 220 grand without a contract, stop being a piece of stop doing that. Get it under contract and get it at a price that you need it at. We find that happening a lot. I'm not going to name the company name, but there's one here in DFW. That's all they do is they get a price from the seller and they shop the property, and then and I found out because the leads were in our system. And I was like, hey, Jake, call that lead and see, or whoever it was, Tanner, call that lead and see like why they signed with someone else. And like, we didn't sign with anyone. I told them I'd take 200 and our offer was like 140. And they're like, no, we didn't sign a contract. I'm like, oh, this is why wholesaling is going to get regulated, which is why it needs to be regulated because of morons like that. But anyways, and you want to hear me talk shit on people, Billy_Ferns on Instagram is where I
and you know, take Billy's advice and don't be a piece of shit, okay?
Piece of shit.
So yeah.
So. Controversial, guys.
Awesome.
Oh, man.
I mean, if you're not a piece of shit, it wouldn't be controversial though, right? I mean, yeah. So.
I love it, man. And as always, everybody, thanks for tuning in to Real Talk with REsimpli. If you enjoyed the episode, pass it along to someone who needs the help, the inspiration, the tips and tricks. Follow on YouTube, subscribe to YouTube, and follow on wherever this is posted. So thank you guys.
Awesome. Thanks.
Until next time, guys.